I do like this phone etiquette story. It's
I love
interesting
it.
because you know what? It opens up discussion and debate about the way we use phones today.
Yes.
And full credit to Roxanne. Roxanne found this. Roxanne sent me this link last night. And I'm like, you know what? I like this. We'll spend some time on it. And it's about phone etiquette and do's and don'ts. Now, typically, I don't need people to tell me do's and don'ts. I'm a social encounter moron all on my own, okay? So I don't. Michelle just yelled at me like in the last couple of days about that I'm a social tard. You know, that's
It's a really weird dynamic with you.
Yeah.
I could put you in a little closet. You could talk forever. But
Listen, I might be a little socially awkward at times. Not always, but at times. And this is interesting about phone etiquette. And I'm just going to go down the list here because we'll have a little to say here. I might even take some phone calls.
We should.
On the phone etiquette, and I'll explain you late in a second. The first thing on the list is don't leave a voicemail. And the essential take here is voicemails are dead. Voicemails are kaput, done, finished. The days of voicemails are over.
I violate this all the time.
Yeah, I don't leave many voicemails.
Nope.
When I get voicemail, I typically just hang up. But the take here is that you're far better off not leaving a voicemail, just putting whatever you want to say in text. It's much better communicated. But the only exceptions for the no voicemail rule are calling people who would love to hear your voice no matter what you're saying. I don't know.
I mean, if your mother calls.
That's what it says. I don't. Oh, for like a relative.
Well, yeah, somebody who you're deeply related to. You leave a message. Yeah, you'd love to get a message from your mom or your dad or something like that, or your kids leave you a message.
If you can't get a hold of somebody, one example of leaving a voice message, it would be like happy birthday, something more personalized than a text. But for the most part, don't leave a voicemail. The days of voicemail is over. All right, next, text before calling. Now, this is an interesting one. The suggestion is that before you call somebody that you should send them a warning text. Hey, I'm going to call you. Or, hey, you got a second for a quick phone call? I want to call you on something. You agree with that?
I don't think you have to do if I need to talk to someone, I'll just call them, and if they can't answer, then they can call me back.
If you need to talk to somebody for something and you just call them, it's Roxanne. I'm not answering that.
Fine.
But then,
their choice.
But if you need to get a hold of somebody, you send a text. Hey, I need to talk to you right now. It's important. And then I'll pick up the text.
No.
All right. You know what? This is a good one to go to phones on.
Yeah.
Let's go to phones on this one. Do you have a problem with getting just a phone call? Just a cold call. I mean, this was the way things used to happen. It just shows how social norms and mores and how things have evolved. I think this is a great question. Do you have a problem if somebody just calls you right off the bat, or do you prefer getting a text first? Are you angered if someone calls you? And do you agree with, if you're going to call somebody, give them a warning, give them a heads up via text first that, hey, I'm gonna give you a call real quick, okay? You
But
mind?
It's got to be important to send the text first.
Let's go to phones. 800-990-1047. 812 here on the MJ Morning Show. Let's grab a couple of calls. 800-990-1047. Very simple question. Do you get ticked off if someone just calls you? And do you prefer if somebody texts you first and then says, hey, you mind if I call you? Let's grab some calls on this. 800-990-1047. I never really thought of this, but this is like a new expected norm? And people are getting aggravated and ticked off if you just call them? What's going on? I mean, still, interpersonal verbal communication is still important. And especially with, I think, it happens like we're all Gen X. So everyone on this show is Generation X. Now, my kids are Gen Z. And, for them, phone calls and talking, it's like foreign. It's like all text. It's almost like the voice component, the voice feature on a phone doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I have to tell you something. I think I've shared this before, but people get really irritated at me because I do not even have my text messages notify my phone. Like, I can get texts all morning on my phone, my cell phone. None of them will come through. And as soon as I had kids, I turned that off because I never wanted my kids to be like, oh, mommy's like a dog with, hearing the beep, like, oh, I have a text. I never wanted them to feel like my phone was drawing me away from them.
Before I go to phones on this, one of the other issues is that some people get anxiety and anxious when the phone rings. They're like, oh my God, what's wrong? What's like my mom?
Yeah, I have that too.
My parents are, older. My mom is 78 or 79. My dad's going to be 81 this month. And with my mom especially, if I call her just to say hello or I just called to say I love you, it's like, what's the matter? I mean, it's like,
yeah, what's wrong? Why are you calling?
I mean, so that affects my parents. I can't call everything. Something's got to be wrong. What's the matter? Are you okay? What's the matter?
I had a friend.
I'm just calling you.
I had a good friend call me, and I haven't talked to him maybe in a year.
Yep.
And I answered the phone, and I go, who died? And he's like, nobody died. Nobody died. Just called and say what's up. Okay.
But also, if you text somebody, and they point out that if you text somebody and just say, call me, that also might implicate some kind of an urgency and might be unnerving if you just do call me versus, hey, you got a second? Can we talk for a second? Or, hey, if you have a moment, can I call you? Versus just call me. So, you know what? There are like 3 more things on the phone etiquette list, but I want to go to phones on what I think is the most interesting, that you need to text somebody before you call them.
Ooh.
All right, 800-990-1047. That's how you get in. 800-990-1047. What are you oohing over there?
Someone just texted me, did you see that genetic scientists expect humans' vocal cords to shrink because of phones and text? Not ours, not in this room.
All right,
they're
Amber.
expanded.
Amber's in Tampa, first up on this. Hey, Amber, welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Hi. So I am 26. I'll be 27 next year. I absolutely love phone calls. I love talking on the phone. I love randomly calling my friends and my mom and my husband. And it's like, yeah, I will text every now and then, but it's like, I'd like when I'm talking with someone to be personal. It's like, I don't.
Yeah, well, listen, when you text, and I've had text messages with people where the inflection or the perceived tone of the text is totally misread, which you don't.
Time.
Yeah, and I've had like issues like someone was angry at me because they took the tone of my text completely wrong. Now, Amber, you said you're 26. How old are your friends?
My friends, my personal friends are roughly around my age.
Yep.
My husband's friends are closer to his age. He's 40. He'll be 41 this year.
All right, so you're 26, husband's 40. So let's deal with your friend group first. So the friends in your age group, how many are callers and talkers versus texters?
Most of them only text, but when it comes to me, they'll pick up the phone.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. Amber, thanks for listening. And do me a favor. Tell all of your friends, and hopefully your husband does the same. Tell them to listen to the MJ Morning Show on Q105, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Amber. Appreciate it. Let's grab Nancy in Bradenton. Nancy, you're next on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Hi. Good morning. I was called to say I'm old school, and I still think just calling up somebody, if they don't answer the phone, then call them back. You know, I do make a lot of calls for grandparent support group because I have one here in Bradenton, Florida.
Yeah, listen, Nancy, the bottom line is that I've always adhered to the 2-time rule that if you call somebody and it goes to voicemail, that you call back. And then I always call it the rule of 2s, and that people that don't pick up the first time, a lot of times pick up the second time. But that's addressed in phone etiquette, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Nancy, thank you. Wanda is in Newport Richie. Wanda, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi. I'm sorry. Wanda's on 3. Hang on a minute. I just picked up 4 accidentally. Wanda, go ahead. It's you now. Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey.
I don't mind getting the phone calls. If I get a phone call and I can't answer, I will message somebody and say, can I call you in a little while? I'm in the middle of something. And it's plain, it's simple,
Yep.
and to the point.
Do you prefer for regular communication, do you prefer texting with somebody, or do you prefer actual like human voice contact?
I prefer talking on the phone instead of texting.
Thanks, Wanda. Appreciate it. Jesus is next. Jesus, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
MJ, I love talking on the I like talking on the phone better than I do texting, because if you have to explain to somebody something, you have to send as long. And I'm not a really good speller, but my friends also.
Hold on a minute. So you're not going to be in the Scripps Howard spelling bee contest?
No,
You're not going to say, could you please use that word in a sentence?
no. I'm going to say, how can I use it in a felony?
Well, how you can use it in a
sentence.
I got you.
He's actually quite good with wordplay if you're not a good speller.
But also, Jesus, you stir up a good discussion here in the sense that a lot of times you can say something and be more succinct and get to the point faster than actually having to type out some ridiculous paragraph of a text.
And also, MJ, like if you're going to send like a message, somebody will take it the wrong way. Like a while ago, somebody had sent me a message, and I replied, and they're like, "Well, how do you mean? Are you saying it in a good way or a bad way?" Like if someone tells me basically, "How are you doing?" I'm just gonna put K.
Yeah, I mean, it's the tone. Listen,
I love you, Jesus.
Tone and context a lot of times are not defined in a text versus a voice. Jesus, thanks for the call, buddy. I appreciate it.
A quick question for you.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Jesus, are you the Jesus whose birthday's today that I'm supposed to wish you happy birthday to?
No.
Okay.
All right, so it's a different Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Have a great one.
Happy birthday to the other Jesus.
So we have at least 2 Jesuses that are listening to the show.
Right.
It's fantastic.
What if your name was Jesus and you were born like December 25th? That'd just be ironic. Or coincidental. I don't know which one.
It wouldn't be ironic. Well, no. Well, you can make a case for irony. All right. So
back to phone etiquette.
Jennifer in Spring Hill. Jennifer, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead.
So a few years ago, my husband and I had all these bill collectors calls, so I changed my answering machine message on my cell phone to read, "Don't leave a message, just text me." Well, now that we're not in that issue, all of my friends and family text. They don't leave a message. They don't call. And they literally say, "I know you hate phone calls, but I wanted to make a quick call. I would rather a phone call, but unfortunately, we normally get the text." So I'm good either way. I do like, I think someone said to send a text and say, "Hey, can I talk to you a second?" And then this way I know to pick up on the first ring.
Yeah, that's the etiquette. That's the suggestion, is that you don't just call somebody. You text first and say, "Hey, I'm going to call you," or "Hey, can we have a quick call?" Tell me about the bill collector issue. What kind of debt did you rack up? How much money were you guys owing?
We owed $30,000, a little over $30,000 when we lived in Jersey.
And then you cleared it all up? It's all paid off?
Yeah, pretty much. We, I guess, it's good fortune. I don't know how you want to put it, but and we had some friends that said, "Why don't you stay with us?" And so we didn't have rent for a whole year almost.
Well, that's good, Jennifer. Thank you. I'm glad you got everything settled, and thanks for listening.
No, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Let's grab Kayleen, Lexi, Steven, hang on. And then I'm just going to clear up these calls, Andrew. So no more. Andrew's still screening. I got to move on. I got the Tom Brady FTX thing. First, so let me grab Mike in Clearwater. I like what the comment section says, that a text caused a family feud.
Interesting.
Let's find out.
Mike, are you there? Oh, there he is. Mike, go ahead. Mike, what happened?
when me and my wife were getting married, we were doing
Hey, Mike, is there any way to pick up the phone? Because you're a little distant on the hands-free.
hold on a second. I apologize.
We got
Yeah.
time, Mike. Just relax.
Is that better?
Go ahead.
Maybe.
All right.
Is that better?
Yeah, a little better. Go ahead.
All right. So me and my wife were getting married on Cape Cod. Destination wedding. All our family was from New Jersey. And we were up there for the whole week beforehand, getting marriage certificate, running around, doing last-minute things. My brother gets up there the day before. Me and my brother don't have the best of relationships, but, we're brothers. But this text message he sent me, because I was handling last-minute things at the reception, got misconstrued because, like you said, in your head, when you read a text message from somebody, you're inflecting the tone that you're used to with them.
Right. So you're like in your head, you're reading the text message in the way you think they're delivering it verbally.
Exactly. So that night, after the rehearsal dinner, we were supposed to, go out, get a couple of drinks, all the guys, all the people in the groomsmen and all, and my brother didn't show up. And then my wife was also having a panic attack, so I had to go calm her down, and I told my brother-in-law, I said, hey, can you go tell my brother that we're going to go here, here, and here afterwards, just so he knows. I had already told him earlier in the day, but I was going to remind him. He never showed up. I got home about, back to the place I was staying, about 1 in the morning, and there's my brother, my parents, my sisters, all digging in, yelling at me, screaming at me for putting her family first, not listening to them, not caring about their opinions. And
so what was it about the text that caused this feud?
Because the text says, he had sent me a couple of texts saying that, they're up here for me. Why can't I spend time with them? I'm running around doing things for the wedding.
Yeah, it's like you're getting married. All right, so what was let's wrap it up here, but what was the final outcome?
It kind of calmed down after a while, but it lasted a few weeks because even when I came home from the honeymoon, I still was getting the cold shoulder from my family.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, what a mess. Mike, thanks for the call, buddy. Thanks for listening. All right. Again, texting and context and, I like, again, a lot of times you can get your point across and get the facts out faster than having to type out a freaking chapter in a book. All right, 3 more calls, then I got to move on to
Can you give me the final word?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure, yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Kayleen is in Riverview. Kayleen, MJ Morning Show, you're up. Hi.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning.
So I'm 37, and I absolutely hate phone calls.
When's the last time you had a phone call other than talking to us right now?
Well, work and stuff's different, but I have a family and friends that are chatty Cathy's, and when I know it's a minimum 45-minute conversation, the whole time I'm thinking about what else I want to be doing.
What, so you don't have the ability just to cut people off and you won't just interject and say, listen, I got to run. You feel like you're trapped and a prisoner to a 45-minute phone call?
If you knew my family, you would understand.
All right. So, Kayleen, with all of your friends, you text, not a lot of phone calls.
Right. And
Do you like to talk, when you go out with friends, do you like to talk at dinner at least?
yeah, that's different. It's in person, but when I'm doing stuff like a text, I prefer because I can respond when I want to. I can stop responding when I want to.
Oh, the other thing is, and I think this might be on the list, that if somebody texts you, that you shouldn't feel compelled to have to answer right away, like immediately.
Well, because it's almost like our manners have gone to the texting person, like, oh, I've got to get back to them. But look at what a text ultimately is. It's taking you away from the moment that you're spending time with someone in person.
Kayleen, anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks for listening. Tell 3 people a day to listen to the MJ Morning Show, okay?
All right.
Thank you, Kaylee. Oh, she sounds so man.
I don't know if she's going to help you.
Yeah, why don't you make some phone calls and tell people to listen to the MJ Morning Show? Lexi's in Brandon. Hey, Lexi.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
We are well, Lexi. Go ahead.
Awesome. I am 31, and I would totally prefer a phone call because I feel like a lot of my friends want to chat about multiple different things, and then you have to keep scrolling up and reply, and they keep trying to change the conversation. They'll do sidebar conversations, and it's just so much faster. Just pick up the phone. We'll talk for 3 minutes. You can change the conversation really quickly and keep going back.
Yeah.
That's a
Or, they
conversation,
want
yeah.
to keep texting. Yeah, it just gets to be too much with text.
Great point.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, there's a time for texting. There's a time for talking. Lexi, how old did you say you were?
I'm 31.
And how many of your friends are in the same mindset?
They're all the same age as me, but a lot of them want to text, and I'm just like, I'll pick up the phone. Hey, I'm at Publix. Do you need anything? I know we're having dinner tonight. Rather than like, hey, do you have taco shells? And then you're just sitting there waiting for them to answer your text, and you're standing in front of the taco shells, and you don't know what to pick up.
Yeah, a lot of times you make the call, you get your answer, and get on with your life a lot quicker. Lexi, thank you for listening, and tell 3 people a day to listen to the MJ Morning Show, okay?
All right, I will.
Thanks, Lexi. Have a great. All right, last call on this, and then Roxanne wants the final word. Yes. It's the final word. All right, Stephen in Bradenton, last call. Hi, Stephen.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, MJ. Good morning, gang.
Hey.
Hi.
So, I think it's a call etiquette thing like you mentioned before, and it really depends on who your recipient is. For example, when you call or when you have business owners on the air, you tend to give them a heads up prior to the call, right? But if you're going to call, Chloe or Michelle or something, do you give them a heads up?
No.
I think it's, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so maybe it depends on who you're calling, whether it's a family member or whether it's somebody that's maybe a friend, maybe not as close, or business. Maybe the heads up on the text works, but for a family member, that's kind of awkward. Hey, Chloe, it's Dad. Can I call you? Do you have a couple of minutes? No, I'm just going to call her because first of all, I'm paying the freaking Verizon bill.
Right, but that's like a different relation. But if you had to call, like, your tire guy, and he's busy. Hey, can I give you have time for a call in 10 minutes? I get it.
Hey, thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it. And then, Roxanne, you want the final say before I go over a few other items here, or?
Oh, no, she wants the final word.
You want to talk right now?
I'll just talk right now.
Right,
Just get it out of my system. I read this story years ago, and it always stuck with me. It was a study that was done, and they looked at people before they went into a work meeting. So let's picture we're all going into a meeting with Rick, okay?
God.
And
Rick is our program director, operations manager.
And some of the people in the study, they sent a bunch of text messages before they went in, and some of the people in the study did nothing, but maybe they wrote on a piece of paper, maybe they had a conversation. In the meeting, those who'd been texting had less confidence than those who were not texting. That always stuck with me. The theory was something kind of silly, like just the little letters. I don't know what the theory was. The reason why.
I have no idea.
No. But the point is, it stuck with me that the texting took away their confidence before they went into a meeting, and I thought that was odd. But then I was like, yeah, I don't really. I love the people who text me. I love the information, but I love a conversation like I'm having right now with you, Fester.
Is that the last word? We done with that?
Wrapping this up.
Are you sure? Roxanne has more to talk about, though. Hold on.
Wrapping this up. One of the other phone etiquette items is don't use the speakerphone in public. How many times are you out, you're in a supermarket, you're shopping, and people are just walking around holding like their cell phone in the air with the speakerphone just blaring.
You know why? Because they're afraid of putting the phone close to their head, and they don't have their earbuds, or they don't have
radiation.
Mm-hmm. So I had a buddy who would always walk around, and if he was seeing you talk, he would get right next to you and say something about flatulence. He'd be like, I have to
hold on. So if
you're on speakerphone,
so he's in a store, I'm in a store, I'm on speakerphone. He'll come close and then talk about flatulence.
And he's like, "Oh man, I gotta fart so bad." And it's like, what? I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're on speakerphone." Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I have really bad gas, and it was hysterical. Hysterical. I love blowing up people.
Yeah, that's very funny. All right, thank you, Fester.
Listen,
thanks, Fester.
Well, it looks like Fester got the last word on it. Roxanne, and my story sucked more.